All right, this is part 2 of the reaction video where we're going to deep dive into MrBeast's content being questionable at best, because this guy looks like he's losing his mind, and we're starting to see it play out on screen. So here we go. We're going to press play. Let's keep reacting to this. Can only imagine what's going to happen now.
I mean, that's when I get psych in and talk to the psych about how I'm not well. And like I said, there was a lot of good people over there that was saying, you got to pull him out. Yeah, I had friends that did some freelance work. And they would tell me, they'd be like, yeah, everyone knows you over there. Everybody loves you. They go, oh, Jake Weddle, love that guy. Shame what happened to him.
Bro, this kind of nervous laughing, he is not all there, man. I'm telling you, he is not all there. I don't think this is fake. I don't. This kind of nervous laughing, this kind of like disassociation where you try to laugh off when you're clearly just fucked. Like, I don't think this is fake, bro, at all.
A ghost. And I asked him, I said, how much longer are you guys going to keep me in here? And the guy goes, realistically, like at least 7 more days? No. And they didn't let me leave right away either. They wanted to make sure, everything was fine.
Yeah, this is PTSD all day.
So I just, slept for a while. They turned the lights off. And it's like they brought in all my friends, to make it. They brought in all the people I liked and Jimmy. Then everybody was around me, making sure I was good, making sure I was okay. Yeah. But Jimmy had his he was sitting in the chair, turned around like an evil villain. Swear to God, everyone was looking at me, and he was like Lex Luthor over there.
Huh.
He turns around, he stands up. He does the exact same thing when he's pretending to have a human connection. You know when you're watching a video and he's like, "Oh, stop! You're gonna make me cry," and he like touches his eye or whatever as if he's crying. He's just. I didn't have to pretend to do that shit. She says, as if rehearsed by his lawyers. Your mental health is the most important thing. Just want to make sure you're okay. And the last thing we want you to do is, I can almost hear the word Sue come out of his mouth. The S. He just stopped right before it got out.
Wow, he had his lawyers talk to him.
I did not get the $300K. What I got, he goes, think of it this way. At least you get to keep what you earned. You were in there for XYZ days. You did XYZ challenges. So you got, 100,000 some change, give or take. You know how much money I spent in taxes in 2021? I spent $44,000 in taxes alone. And now I spent all that money on doing stand-up. I bought plane tickets to go do comedy festivals. My family back home, I gave them a bunch of stuff that they needed. And haven't been back on a Beast set in any official capacity or unofficial capacity since then. And then they did the video with somebody else, and they worked out the kinks. And then I'd still gotten some hot water, and I knew it would. And I've wanted to say a lot of this for a long, long, long time. And I feel good now.
So they did do that video. I remember seeing that kind of video with other people. I think it was 2 people. They didn't just do one person. They did 2 people in those same kind of conditions, but slightly different. I remember that.
So I just want to hop in here and show some text that Jake sent me after this interview. This is July 29, 2021, a few days after he got out of solitary. How are you feeling after a few days? Better. I still couldn't sleep even a few days out, but I almost have my sleep cycle back on track. My legs and joints are good, but the blisters on my feet still hurt to walk on. Medical advice I got was not to lance them and just let them go away with time. I'm mentally still in an uneasy place, but I've gotten back on better help. My therapist is a little concerned, but we are working on things. Reminder, this is not supposed to be a traumatic life event. This is supposed to be a MrBeast video. Hey, Jake, hope you're doing okay. Meg and I just wanted to check in on you. Hey, I'm good, and I appreciate that. I'm not exactly 100%. I feel like mentally I'm still recovering a bit, but back in therapy, and my therapist is concerned. Haha, but my legs and joints feel better. Like I can walk, but my feet are still covered on those blisters and those hurt to walk on. But I was told the best thing to do is stay off my feet and let them heal. I'm in Raleigh with my family. Also, it'll be like a month before I get the money, and they aren't giving me all the money. They're giving me what I won up to that point in the game, which was also a slap in the face. But hey, I'm out. I'm alive. Therapist who knows and cares about you. The whole thing was so fucked, and honestly, fuck them for not giving you the money. Meg and I are wishing you the best with your recovery, and please feel free to reach out if you need anyone to talk to or need a place to crash in New York. Hope you're doing well, man. That video you uploaded is money. So good. I appreciate. I'm doing better physically. Mentally, I'm still kind of in a place. I still can't sleep. I've slept 5 hours in the past 3 days, marathon included. I don't know what's wrong with me. Lots of thinking, too much, one might say. Hope they're taking care of you where they can. I mean, I was kind of shocked they didn't pay me for the full 25, 30 days. They paid me what I made up to that point. Like, even when we have to pull the plug for my mental health, the mechanism of the game is still at play. I'm just happy to be out. I still can't walk well, but it hurts less. And like, I'm not famous enough to burn a bridge. So at the end of the day, I'm still Jimmy's bitch. Like, if I was Carl and he did that to me, I'd ruin him. And they want to do it again. That could be your leverage. If the guy breaks down also, 2 is better than 1. Yeah, right. I told them everything they did to me that they can't do again in order to make sure the other person doesn't break down as fast. But like, the way the video is meant to function is the problem. It's a bad idea, full stop. It sounds clickbaity, sounds right up Jimmy's alley, but it's morally unethical, like on every level. Off-camera breaks, lights off at night, visitation, take the marathon out. Marathon is a video in itself. You can't expect someone to exert themselves like that for 45 seconds of content. The challenges really made it feel dehumanizing, felt like a parody of MrBeast. I felt like the homeless guy they could exploit. It felt like if Jeff Bezos had a GIMP. It felt like if Jeff Bezos had a GIMP. Part of me wants the footage burned, and part of me thinks that there's a great horror cut in there. LMAO, he was so fake when he came in and said he cared about my mental health. They must have programmed the care about mental health updates. He said, we also don't want you to, and I swear to our Lord and Savior, he stopped himself from saying sue. Also, as far as like, he could have said no, he could have left at any time. I want to show this segment from an internal document at MrBeast called How to Succeed in MrBeast Production, specifically on page.
Saying something like off-camera breaks too essentially just proves that the entire thing is fake, right? I mean, they're trying to fight against the whole MrBeast videos are fake thing, but if you have off-camera breaks hiding, you know, what shouldn't be seen, it just seems very odd to me, right? It seems like that essentially proves that this whole thing, I mean, is fake to an extent with the videos. But I guess let's continue. Still, a lot of people would say, oh, he should have just walked away, blah, 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 right? But keep in mind, this is 30 days or less, right? I think he said 30 days. It was supposed to go up to 30 days. 30 days to make $300,000. You mean to tell me if you are light on money or if you are not financially okay, that you would not be, that somebody out there would not be manipulated into doing a video like this? You don't think that possibility is very, of course they're going to. Not only do you have money at play, but you also have social power. You have social clout, something that people look for all the time. So you got money and you got the clout that comes with it. Of course, I think half the people in this fucking chat would probably try it. Honestly, just being real with you.
Page 19, there's a paragraph called "No does not mean no." Already insane, because it's sort of, it seems to be co-opting a popular anti-rape slogan, which is a terrible look given the allegations that are going to be coming out very soon. It reads, when dealing with people outside MrBeast Productions, never take no at face value. If we need a store to buy everything inside of, and you can call the local Dollar Tree, and the person that answers says, no, you can't film here, that literally doesn't mean shit. Talk to other employees and see if they are fans or if any have kids that are fans. Try talking to their boss's boss. Have me DM them on Twitter and try their social team. If all avenues are exhausted and you are left with a no, that doesn't mean don't try the other Dollar Trees, because the manager of those could be huge fans and willing to bend the rules. Basically, what I'm trying to convey is what we call pushing through no. Don't stop because one person told you no. Stop when all conceivable options are exhausted. This is one of many tools that, when combined, dramatically improve your probability of success when producing here. So yeah, this idea of like pushing through no's is a big component to working at MrBeast. And the way that it manifests itself a lot of the time is like a director might tell a producer, hey, we need access to 30 acres of farmland by Tuesday or we lose $500,000. Now, if you're the producer, you obviously know that means get it done or you lose your job. So what can happen is like a producer's calling up farmers saying, hey, I need to use your land. And the farmer might be like, okay, but I have animals. You can't be making really loud noises, no pyrotechnics, and you got to clean everything up. So the producer is sort of incentivized to lie and say, or maybe the producer doesn't even actually know the total contents of the video, right? Things changed last second. So they're they're financially incentivized to be manipulative and sort of they're put in positions where it's like, oh, it's either the producer's job or a civilian's job, like where it talks about, hey, maybe the manager would be willing to bend the rules. Well, you shouldn't really be pressuring civilians to bend the rules that could get them fired, I'll show you a real life example. This is unused.
Bro, that's insanity. That's insanity. But, again, it goes back to the conversation we were having. When you have all the money and you have all the power, you are in a position where people are going to be very easily influenced by you. There's no doubt about it. And the thing is that in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing just because you already know that power dynamic exists, right? Acknowledging that existence is not a bad thing. The bad thing is when you take advantage of that existence, right? If you take advantage of that power dynamic and for a fact it's there, which I mean, it's obvious that it's there, right? It's there, then taking advantage of it and saying, well, no doesn't really mean no. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a bad fucking thing. That's when you start going into the realm of a fucking villain at that point, which is essentially how they are describing him.
Evidence from part 1. I'd seen this Reddit post titled MrBeast leaving trash behind and debris at film site in Aden, North Carolina. Apparently, he left a large boat in a pond as well as debris around the film site in the bottom of the pond weeks and weeks after the agreed time frame. This actually rendered it unsafe for campers and almost delayed the camp's opening date multiple times due to not being able to get in contact with MrBeast to get the stuff cleaned up out of the area. So I actually know that this is from a MrBeast video called Protect the Yacht, Keep It, where at the end of that video, he actually says,
if you're wondering, yes, we did ensure the lake was completely cleaned up after this video. For the love of God, subscribe so we can pass T-Series.
Yes, so he says at the end of the video that they made sure it was cleaned up. I was actually on site for part of this production. I was at this camp. So I decided to send an email out to the camp, basically saying, hey, I heard these rumors. I'm investigating a similar incidents. And the camp responded, actually not denying the claims, going on to say, I am sure that there are no perfect film productions, just as there are no perfect people. I am grateful for the opportunity that we had to host the production crew, and because grace or forgiveness has been offered to me so freely, I will choose to offer the same. So clearly alluding to the fact that there was a wrongdoing by MrBeast production team. And that's like sort of the thing is, if
that camp is probably under NDA, not to say a damn thing, most likely, because that seems like a very vague response. Very vague response.
Around Greenville, these stories of people working with MrBeast and it being extremely unprofessional, them not doing what they say, but they sort of get by a lot on their good public image. And this camp offered to host them completely for free. And I guarantee, if you went to the lake at the camp and you went magnet fishing, you'd find all sorts of debris that's still there to this day. They didn't clean it all up. So in the case of Jake Weddle, I'm sure that there were producers who were in a position of, hey, if Jake gets out early, we don't have a video and your job is at risk. So there's a tremendous amount of pressure on top of him being delirious from not sleeping and everything to just manipulate him into staying, which, I'm sure this isn't technically against the Geneva Convention on torture because he wasn't technically a prisoner. He could have left at any time, but because of the extreme pressure to stay in, it's not really a reasonable expectation that he could have just, walked out.
Because of the implication.
I think Jimmy is a awkward kid who maybe had it a little rough growing up. I can't speak on that, but I do have empathy for it because I had it rough growing up. And I think when you're hyper fixated on something, I love stand-up, he loves YouTube, everyone fixates on a thing, I think he just wanted to be the best YouTuber so bad. And because the industry's metrics, rewarded some not great behavior, if you're just going on autopilot based on what the numbers say, you can do some things that maybe aren't good, but reap reward. And I think Jimmy just did what the industry and maybe what the system that we have set up demanded. And he didn't care who got hurt. And I think Jimmy surrounded himself with really, really not so great people. And those people were the ones making the decisions. And I want to say, really important, there are so many good people that work at MrBeast who are damn good at their jobs. Like, when Jimmy comes in and asks for something impossible, it's these people's jobs to do it. And they shouldn't be able to make it happen, and they do. And so I don't think people wanted to talk about stuff because I didn't want my friends to lose their jobs. I don't care about my fucking job. I'll die in a hole. I don't care. But I don't want my friends to lose their jobs. You know? I don't want anyone's reputation to be fucked. You know? But let's just go back to my dad for a second, if I may. My dad was like a swim coach, neighborhood swim team. Everybody loved it. Behind closed doors, he's a real piece of shit. And so when stuff starts hitting the fan, what? Him? No. Surely. And then, everyone, thought my mom was the bitch, for not, the day the news broke, that he did what he did to one of the students of the team. And it's like when that comes out, you're not surprised, You just go, well, when I saw my dad in the news, I said, oh, you idiots. Like, I was like, no, I was, oh, dumbass, God damn it. But I wasn't surprised. And it was just consequences happening to somebody who was really good at avoiding them for a long time. And I don't know, everybody loves Jimmy. And behind closed doors, he is not super great. And that image is cultivated purposefully and intentionally. And it's branding, it's marketing, it's YouTube.
Well, so see, this is why this is such a big deal, right? Because MrBeast, his entire brand is levied around his philanthropy, how he is a good boy and does great for the world and uses his money and invests it back and says that, he doesn't make much money from that. He spends more money on his videos than he makes, all this other nonsense, but somehow has a major company, like this whole image is cultivated so that people willingly and blindly follow his videos, which again, not that shocking of information. YouTube does this kind of stuff. This is their poster boy, right? So they're going to do everything they can to protect their poster boy. Not only that, he's got a ton of private investors on top of that too, that will do anything to make sure that he looks as good as possible.